Good afternoon, everyone. It's 3:30, so we will get this development permit panel started. I would just first introduce the panel members. With me today is Peter Russell, a Director of Sustainability and District Energy, Milton Chan, Director of Engineering. And we also have Mr. Craig from Planning Department and other Planning Department staff to answer questions. Today we are dealing with just one item. So first off, I will just mention a couple of logistics. The panel deals with form and character of the building. We do not deal with zoning, density, or land use. That has all been dealt with by council during rezoning. And so first off, I would like to have a motion to adopt the minutes. Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thank you. Any additions, omissions, changes to the minutes? Okay. If not, then I'll consider that adopted. So we only have one item today. Is a development variance permit. 23-024175, and the applicant is Parkland Armstrong Homes Limited, and the property is 7151, 7211, 7231, and 7251 Bridge Street. And the development variance permit is to vary some of the backyards in order for the land to be subdivided along the backlands to be subdivided out. So there's a series of variances. For 7151 is to relax a portion of the second story from 10.7 meters to 10.64 meters to allow the retention of the second story deck. For 7211 Bridge Street is to relax the section of the wall greater than 6 meters from 2.4 meters to 2.08 meters in order to allow the retention of an existing detached garage. And for 7231 Bridge Street is to allow the 60% of the first stories to be relaxed from 9.6 meters to 7.4 meters, as well as the remaining 40% of the first story and the second story from 10.7 meters to 8 meters. And also the required minimum rear yard setback of a portion of the second story from 10.7 to 6.8 meters to allow for the retention of an existing second story deck. And finally, 60% of the first story of 7251 Bridge Street to be relaxed from 9.6 meters to 7.02 meters, as well as the remaining 40% of the first story and the second story from 10.7 meters to 7.02 meters to allow for the retention of an existing dwelling. So with that, I will turn it over to the applicant to make a presentation. And the applicant, if you could identify yourself and give your address before you proceed with the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Khalid Hassan. I'm the applicant for this development variance permit. In the broader context, this application, initial rezoning application, was made back in 2016 when the rezoning was processed. At that time, the zoning text amendment was not there. Later on, the city has revised their setbacks for the single-family zones, where they brought in a 60-20 or 60-40 setbacks. And the setbacks were actually connected to lot depth rather than the standard 6-meter rear yard setbacks. So at the time of subdivision, we realized that these buildings, some of the buildings on the existing frontage on Bridge Street, they become non-compliant with the new zoning amendment. So that triggered this development variance permit requirement, and that's why the application was made. As Cecilia mentioned, the 4 out of 6 properties have these variance requests. I'm not going to identify each of them, as she already explained what we are seeking for. Some of them are very minor, like some of the decks and the accessory building, and the other 2 existing homes, because Traditionally, it used to be 6-meter setback, but now with the 60-40 rule, it become 9.6 meter setback required, but rather than 7.05, as you can see on 7251 Bridge Street, and same with the 7231 has some variance requirement. So that's what we are seeking today in order to achieve the subdivision as initially proposed in the rezoning application for the future 10 lots on future Armstrong Road. So if I'm here, if you have any questions, if the panel has any question to ask, please do so.
Thank you. Usually we will have the, in this case, at least a site plan, so that if there's questions, we could point to them. If you want to share your screen, or if Mr. Craig would share the screen, perhaps. And with that, I will also turn it over to Mr. Craig for staff comments.
Okay, so can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
So basically, this is the proposed subdivision survey that actually shows the 6 lots on Bridge Street side, which is these 6 existing homes on them, and then the future subdivision will create the 10 lots on the new Armstrong Street, and starting with 7151 Bridge Street. The existing dwelling, there was a deck in the back, and that deck become, over the period of time, they enclosed the deck, so it's like a kind of a living space. So that one should be based on the 60-40 setback requirement, should be 10.7 meter, while the existing one is 10.64 meter on 7151, as you can see on the survey. So that's for 7151, and then moving down, if you can see, the other one is 7211. There is an existing garage building in the back, which is supposed to be 2.4 meter from the proposed property line, but the setbacks are right now is 2.08 and 2.09. So that one is required some variance. And then the last two are 7231 and 7251 Bridge Street, these 2 homes. In the back, the setback should be, according to the current zoning requirement, should be 9.6 meters, but we have 7.4. And then the second one is also 9.6 meter, but we have 7.05. So these are the 4 properties that requires the variances. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay, thank you. And if Mr. Craig wants to do the staff presentation, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In terms of the variances requested, staff are supportive of these variances. They do not facilitate any new construction. This is simply technical variances required to facilitate retention of existing buildings and structures on the portions of the site that will front Bridge Street. The proposed variances do not alter any of the on-site tree retention and tree replacement that was secured through the original rezoning application. The retention of these structures was identified at time of rezoning. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. And I will turn that over to panel for any questions.
I have no questions, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Yes, as Mr. Craig had said, that this is a technical variance only. And Mr. Clerk, is there any letters or any comments on this application?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have no correspondence for this application, and there's no one in chambers to speak on this item as well.
Okay, thank you. So again, as I was started to say, this is really a technical relaxation in order to facilitate the subdivision of these quite long lots in the McLennan area. And I think Mr. Craig already talked about. My only question was going to be about trees, but they have been already dealt with during rezoning. Finally, the minor question: when the new road is open, would they only have half the width of the road, and they have to wait for the other half of the subdivision to happen to have the full width?
Through the chair, yes, this development will be required to provide a functional road as part for Armstrong Street. That road will facilitate two-way traffic. That road would be further widened when the properties fronting Ash Street redevelop.
Okay, thank you for that. Having no questions from the panel, this is pretty straightforward. So there's a positive recommendation from staff. So I will call for a motion to adopt the recommendation.
So moved.
Seconded.
Seconder? Okay, thank you. All those in favor? Okay. I think you've got your approval. And so there's no business, I'm assuming, Mr. Craig?
No new business, Madam Chair.
Okay, and our next meeting is October the 25th, 2023?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. And then we'll move for German.
So moved.
Thank you. We'll see you guys.